The story begins with a man named Patrick, who shared a special bond with his dog, Milo, and his cat, Samantha. They lived together happily in his home, a peaceful trio. Patrick knew something wasn't quite right when he came home one day and saw Milo, his dog, holding Samantha, his cat, gently in his mouth. At first it seemed strange, but Patrick quickly realized this wasn't just a playful moment. Milo, who was always so gentle with Samantha, was holding her too tightly. Panic surged through Patrick. His heart started racing as he wondered what could be wrong. Milo's usual calm behavior was gone, replaced with something urgent and alarming. Patrick knew he needed help right away. He grabbed his phone and called the vet, explaining the situation. The vet's voice on the other end was filled with urgency. He said there was no time to waste, but he couldn't give any advice over the phone. The situation seemed serious, and they would need to get to the clinic fast. Without hesitation, Patrick rushed to grab Samantha, cradling her carefully in his arms. He dashed out the door, jumping into his car. But as he drove, the rush hour traffic made it almost impossible to go fast enough. Every second felt like forever. As Patrick finally reached the vet clinic, anxiety gripped him. He had no idea what was wrong, but he feared the worst for his beloved pets. Samantha was still in Patrick's arms as he rushed into the clinic. The vet's assistant greeted him, telling him that the vet would be there soon. But as the minutes passed, Patrick's worry turned to frustration. An hour had already gone by since he called the vet, and he couldn't understand why they hadn't seen Samantha yet. His heart raced with concern for her, and soon he couldn't hold back. He demanded the vet come immediately, insisting this was an emergency. The assistant tried to calm him down, but Patrick was too focused on Samantha's safety. Without waiting for permission, he rushed into the vet's office, desperate for help. The vet, who was busy with another patient, noticed Patrick's panic and quickly understood the urgency of the situation. Without hesitation, he agreed to see Samantha. Finally, Patrick felt a small sense of relief when the vet began examining his beloved cat. But that relief didn't last long. As the vet checked Samantha over, his face went pale. Patrick noticed the change but couldn't read his expression. The vet seemed concerned, but instead of sharing his thoughts, he began asking a series of questions. At first, they seemed normal, but then they became odd. He asked about how Samantha had been treated before coming to live with Patrick. Patrick was confused. Why was the vet asking about her past when she was already in his care? Something didn't feel right, and the tension in the room grew. When Patrick answered the vet's questions, the vet reacted quickly, his face filled with concern. He immediately called for his assistant, and they began talking in hushed tones, exchanging urgent words. Patrick watched, feeling more anxious by the second. The vet soon decided they needed to run tests on Samantha right away. The seriousness of the situation was becoming clear. Patrick felt helpless as he watched them prepare for the tests, unsure of what was happening to his beloved cat. Things took a strange turn when Samantha, usually calm and trusting, began to resist. She started squirming and trying to escape the vet's hands. The more the vet tried to comfort her, the more she fought back, even becoming a bit aggressive. Patrick rushed to help, but nothing worked. Samantha was panicking, and it was obvious that something was terribly wrong. The vet needed to act fast, but it was hard to calm her down. Finally, after what felt like forever, Samantha started to settle. The vet quickly took this opportunity to continue with the tests. As he carefully examined her, something caught his eye. A large lump in her belly stood out. Patrick, noticing the worry on the vet's face, immediately asked what was going on. The vet didn't respond right away. Instead, he whispered something to his assistant. Patrick's heart raced as he waited for an explanation, his mind filled with fear. The vet finally told Patrick that they needed to do an ultrasound. The situation was urgent, and the vet's concern was growing. As the ultrasound was done, the vet's mood changed. At first, he seemed hopeful, but soon his face grew serious. Patrick's nerves were on edge as he watched, struggling to keep his questions in check. He didn't want to distract the vet, but the uncertainty was unbearable. When the ultrasound finished, the vet excused himself and said he needed to make a phone call. Patrick, now more anxious than ever, couldn't understand why the vet was being so secretive. Who was he calling? What was happening to Samantha? Each passing minute felt like forever, and Patrick's worry grew. After what felt like an eternity, the vet returned, but this time with a team of assistants. Patrick's heart skipped a beat. Why were they bringing in extra help? Was something worse going on? The vet told Patrick that Samantha needed surgery. It would take time though, and Patrick's mind raced with worry. The whole situation was turning into a waiting game, and he had no idea how long it would be before he got answers. Then, something unexpected happened. Police officers suddenly entered the clinic. Patrick was confused at first, not knowing what was going on. The officers walked up to him and started asking questions about his cat. At first, the questions seemed normal, but soon they became more detailed. They wanted to know about Samantha's previous owner, and whether Patrick had taken her to the vet before bringing her home. Patrick was taken off guard, but did his best to cooperate. He showed them the test results he had saved on his phone, and even pulled up a picture of the person who had sold him Samantha. The officers thanked Patrick for his help, but then they handed him something he didn't expect, a huge file. They started showing him pictures and asking if he recognized anyone. To his shock, Patrick did recognize one of the men in the photos. It was the person who had sold him Samantha. But what did this mean? Had he unknowingly done something wrong? The truth came out when the police explained the situation. Samantha had been bred and sold by a criminal gang. They were in the business of breeding cats to sell, and it seemed Samantha had been sold to Patrick by mistake. The vet had seen something in the ultrasound that was illegal, which is why the police had been called. It turned out Samantha was pregnant and about to have kittens. The criminals had likely impregnated her to sell the kittens, but made a mistake by selling her to Patrick. This error helped the police catch the criminals and stop their illegal operation. Samantha's surgery was a success, and soon after, she gave birth to 2 adorable kittens. Patrick was over the moon, happy to see his family grow, but there was still work to be done. He knew the criminals who had sold him Samantha were probably watching, so he decided to take action. Patrick posted about the kittens on social media, hoping to catch the criminals' attention. The plan was for Patrick to leave the house, while the police stayed hidden, waiting for the criminals to try something. They hoped the criminals would break in to steal the kittens. And sure enough, the criminals made their move. But they weren't as clever as they thought. As soon as they attempted to break in, the police were ready and quickly arrested them. Patrick was filled with relief and gratitude. He felt thankful not only for the police, but also for his loyal dog, Milo. If it hadn't been for Milo's strange behavior with Samantha, Patrick might never have realized something was wrong. Thanks to Milo's actions, Samantha got the help she needed just in time. To show his appreciation, Patrick spoiled Milo with new toys and tasty treats. As for Samantha, she and her kittens were happy and healthy. Patrick was so glad to give them the care and love they deserved. With the criminals caught and his pets safe, Patrick could finally relax, knowing everything was back to normal. That's all for today. Now it's your turn to share your thoughts about this story. What's the next story you'd like to know? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing videos on The Wild Wonder.